Welcome back to Ultra Chill and welcome to Season 3. Today we have with us Omar, the head of Polkastarter Gaming. Our project's just announced a new partnership, and today we are going to cover what Polkastarter Gaming is and how this partnership with Ultra is going to play out. It's an exciting show, so let's get to it. Hi there, Omar. Welcome to Ultra Chill. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do at Polkastarter Gaming?
Sure. Thanks for having me, Rami. So my name is Omar Ghanem. I'm the head of gaming at Polkastarter. Essentially, what we do is a lot of fun, to be honest. So we technically work at a very interesting capacity at Polkastarter, which is the Polkastarter Gaming division directly. We oversee any kind of investments, advisory, or community building projects for the games that exist in our ecosystem or partner games that we bring through. So, my job for the past 6-7 months has been cultivating a community of gamers, where essentially we all sit and live and breathe in the Discord, but we can then kind of work together on playing all these different games and testing out all these different games that are in the Web3 space. I think now more than ever, the space is a lot more exciting. There are way more fun games, way higher quality games. And so I think back when I started versus where we are now, it really has shifted in terms of the quality and in terms of just, I guess, people's taste as well, because once upon a time you didn't really have that many options and everything was pretty similar in quality, but now you get to pick and choose between Unreal Engine 5 or Unity, and you get to pick and choose between genres and things like that. So it's been quite a turn in terms of the quality. But yeah, I mean, personally, I love what I do because essentially I get to work with a lot of game studios, publishing studios, game developers, and we either A, invest in their projects because we believe in them, B, essentially advise either on the game development side with our game development partner studios, or on the blockchain side with a kind of our launchpad expertise, which I think we'll touch on in a while. But yeah, I mean, it's super fun. Whenever people ask me, especially even at Polkastarter, like people that don't work in the gaming division, when they ask, like, "Hey, do you ever go to sleep? Do you ever take a break? You always seem to be online at night." And it's like, we're just playing video games in Discord, and we're having fun on Twitch, and we're making YouTube videos. So no regrets there. But yeah, I mean, I think I wouldn't want to do anything else, in my opinion, in the Web3 space. I think Web3 gaming is what really excites me, but I don't want to dive into that yet. I think we'll have plenty of time to do that.
I feel kind of like you're living the dream here a little bit.
Almost, right? Yeah, I mean, it's because essentially I started playing video games when I was 4, which is now a while back, like 21 years plus. And I feel like every gamer grows up with the idea of like, oh man, I wish I could work with video games, but you never really know how, right? You either like become a pro gamer and you win tournaments or whatever, or you, I guess, get signed up to, I don't know, Sony or Microsoft Xbox division or whatever, but you don't really have like a clear path or trajectory. I feel like with Web3 it's a bit different because it's almost like you could just join any Web3 gaming infrastructure company, or you could join any Web3 gaming developing I guess studio as well, and it's almost like, because the space is so new, there's no bias towards, oh, you need to have 20 years of experience in gaming, or you need to have 15 years doing this. It's like crypto hasn't existed for that long, so it's almost like, yeah, like you said, it's really living the dream essentially. But I feel like we still have a long way to go. I'm yet to find the game that makes me put down my controller and say, you know what, I don't want to play Warzone tonight, I want to play this. Or, you know what, it's not going to be League of Legends for me this weekend, guys, I'm going to play that. But I think we're slowly getting there.
There's kind of like this arc of development for all technologies that I think that we've been experiencing through the Web3 space, which frankly I think is really interesting. Like I grew up in the 80s and I watched computers and video games develop from something that was really, really very basic to today, which they're amazing. Like there's full cinematic experiences that you kind of like play and live through. And I know that the Web3 space is going to go through something similar technologically. And because we have so much experience already in the gaming ecosystem, it's just kind of like going to bolt onto that. I know that you guys have done a lot of projects at this point, or you funded a lot of projects, and they are kind of in in the midst of development. First, I'd like to ask, how many projects are we actually talking about? Like Polkastarter Gaming, you guys have funded how many? And out of those, what do you think has the most potential? What are you most interested in?
That's an interesting question. Let's unpack it. So essentially, what Polkastarter is by nature is a Web3 fundraising platform, right? So we allow projects to essentially raise funds in Web3 on any chain. So contrary to popular belief, it's not a Polkadot ecosystem specific thing or anything like that at all, to be honest. So far, if we're talking gaming only, I mean, in general, we've helped fund over 100 projects. I think it's 111, might be 112 by the time this recording's out. I'm not sure. But essentially, we've helped fund 100 plus projects. Around 28 of them have been Web3 gaming projects specifically, whether it's infrastructure or actual games. I think it's something just slightly above 11 million US dollars in terms of the amounts of funding raised. We also invest ourselves in games. That's a bit of a different conversation. But yeah, I mean, I think the space has evolved, and we see it, I guess, more so than, I guess, the retail investor or even like the end user, the Web3 gamer, because the quality of applications, the nature of the games that used to apply, 7, 8 months ago versus the games that apply today is super, super different. Like there are things, maybe months ago that we probably wouldn't say yes to with as much confidence. Had you known or had you foreseen the quality of games that will come out, for example. But then there are also like games now that are really high quality and maybe don't get the application to go through. They don't get to actually successfully work with us on fundraising, whatever, because of the due diligence process. But maybe if they applied like months ago, they would have been like the best game in the space. So it's really interesting. You asked me which ones am I most interested by. This has nothing to do with fundraising with us. Essentially, we play a lot of games that don't even raise on Polkastarter. We try to, I guess, work in different capacities, and the very least we can do is like pick up your game and play it on Twitch and stream it to our community, and maybe like give away some passes or NFTs or whatever. So you don't, basically, I'm trying to say you don't necessarily have to work with us on the fundraising side to work with us on the community or advisory or anything else. But some of the like most exciting projects for me in the space, for example, Big Time. So that's a MMORPG. If you're a fan of World of Warcraft, I think you'll appreciate it with time. It's still in early access. I think maybe they're still cracking like 20, 30,000 players with their Ruby passes. But I think once this game goes to the public, once it's live for everyone, once the earning potential actually comes in, which is offline so far, so they've managed to kind of maintain that 20k approximate number without any kind of direct token earning potential. I think once the game is actually fully ready for launch, it's going to be super, super exciting. Another one is Undead Blocks. So that's Call of Duty Zombies kind of nostalgic game. The core loop is really simple. You just got to kill zombies and survive. They've done a very interesting approach, which is essentially sponsored tournaments. So instead of kind of just having to rely on 2 tokens and buying an NFT and earning and which still exists in a certain capacity, they have weekend tournaments, and so you could just show up for the weekend, 48 hours or so, play the game, try to get on the leaderboard, rank high, and then walk away with the prize money. And I think what really excites me about a project like this, Rami, is the potential that you could see in how blockchain changes things. I don't know if you're familiar with any like esports tournaments, or if you've ever participated in one, or know people that participated in one. But essentially, once you won the tournament, the hardest part was not the tournament itself; it was getting the money out of the tournament. Especially if the prize pool is super high, especially if you're maybe a minor, especially if you live in a country where the banks are not necessarily the easiest thing to go through. But with something like Undead Blocks, let's say you rank first in the leaderboard, you win $1,000. As soon as the checks for hacks and aim bots and all of that are done, immediately on the spot, the money is in your account, and then you can immediately withdraw it. I think that's what people don't really realize when we talk about blockchain gaming and crypto kind of adding an added layer or potential to gaming. It's not about making games worse or taking us back in quality. It's about what can we change with the technology. So yeah, I mean, I could go on for hours and hours. There are tons of games that are super exciting, Phantom Galaxies, Illuvium, etc., etc. But these are kind of, I would say, my topics.
I'm going to be very careful about how I say this. We've been working on a tournament platform since the spring, where NFTs are the prizes. And that's exactly one of the core points that we identified, which is problematic with the way that current tournaments are run. So it's a matter of also vetting the tournament runners themselves, making sure that they're legit, making sure that they pay out, making sure that, you know, they effectively the contract that you sign with them when you play as a gamer, they fulfill. And blockchain is absolutely the perfect technology for solving those types of problems. So I'm not going to say more, but we will be talking about that probably in the next couple of months, and I'm sure that you guys will hear about it. I think the next thing that I wanted to cover today with you was the deal between Ultra and Polkastarter Gaming. So bringing hot, fresh content to our platform is going to be one of the key pillars to Ultra's success. There are a few different ways that we'll be working together, and I wanted to cover each as they all have the potential to positively impact both of our projects. Let's start with co-marketing partnership. We'd like to expand coverage for both of our brands, and I'd be curious to see how you'd like to see that unfold.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. The partnership is something I've been super excited about. Obviously, we were working together way before the partnership even happened. I think Yannicka and I got on so many calls that it was almost funny to me when we announced the partnership. But super excited. I think both communities really enjoyed that announcement. In terms of working together and kind of just partnering up on the marketing side, I think the Web3 space in terms of like just gamers is so tiny. And, we say like our Discord's got 70,000 gamers in it, et cetera, et cetera. But for a fact that the 70,000 in our Discord, to a large extent, exist in other community Discords as well, because it's really such a small, tiny piece, such a fraction of the total, gaming population, I would say. So you're talking about 3.1 billion plus gamers worldwide. I think in crypto, they say 2 million registered wallets interact with GameFi apps, blah, 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 blah. But I highly doubt that. I think the number is much, much, much smaller if you discount bots and things like that. So I think A, the ability to cross-pollinate community, B, the ability to essentially bring and add more value to both communities. Because, for example, we'll do a Twitch stream and play your game with the devs and make a YouTube video out of it, blah, blah, blah. But then you guys would help on the infrastructure side and then create your own content. And it just really continues to add and add to the space, because you look at the traditional gaming space and it's not like there's one name, that makes content. There's not one name that plays all the games on its own. You need that kind of, I guess, I don't want to say cross-pollination essentially, but you need different brands that do different things when it comes to the gaming space. And I think, with Ultra's tech, with what we're trying to build at Polkastarter Gaming, with both communities, I've seen your loyal fans as soon as we made that announcement. Obviously, you've seen ours. So I think it's really a win-win in a situation where we are trying to work closer and closer with kind of the best names and I guess the clearest in terms of direction and the alignment of where we think Web3 games are going. I think Ultra and Polkastarter Gaming are kind of really on the same wavelength. So it was a no-brainer to sign that partnership. And yeah, on the marketing side, I think it's going to be super exciting. We haven't even scratched the surface yet. All we did was that announcement, and it's got tons of engagement. I can't wait for us to actually start doing more community engagement stuff.
The technology that Ultra has been fine-tuning the past few years is very targeted towards gaming and has a lot of benefits for developers. How will Polkastarter Gaming be providing these technologies to select projects on your platform?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the tech's super exciting. For us, it's the ability to directly help game partners that are looking to get more eyeballs on their games, directly connecting them with you guys in Ultra Games to get that distribution, and immediately be in front of thousands and thousands of gamers that are looking for more and more high quality games. I think it's a no-brainer. It even further strengthens our offering as a game advisor, game partner, etc., etc. So it was really a no-brainer from our side. But I also think from Ultra's side, it's the fact that that if games are coming through us, we've done the vetting process. Like we're can I cuss on this show, or should I censor myself?
You can absolutely cuss on this show.
Because I was about to say, yeah, I was about to say we're like a no bullshit type, team when it comes to vetting games. Like one of the first questions I'll ask, or maybe even the first question, I can safely say that is, I'll say, is there any gameplay? And 99% of the time, if they say not yet, I'm like, okay, cool. Like talk to me when there is gameplay, because for us, it's not like we're not here for the earning potential and the upside of the token. Yada, yada, yada. Like if the game's not good, the game's not good. Full stop. So I think Ultra then knows this and knows for a fact that if a game comes through us, like we've played the game, we know it's good. We're not bullshitting as well. And so it's safe to kind of proceed with. And I don't know if we can, Yannicka might kill me actually, but I don't know if we can announce any of this. I know some of the games that have been announced already as well publicly on Ultra to launch have been kind of connects directly through us as well. So we're really, excited about just moving ahead with this and getting more and more games on Ultra Games, but at the same time, kind of just working closer with Ultra on identifying what are the new trends and what can we do and what are the challenges that games are facing and how can we both help some of these projects and so on.
As somebody that helped birth a lot of these technologies, like a couple of years ago when I first started at Ultra, actually seeing them being used by development houses to fulfill our vision internally of what gaming could be in the future, I cannot possibly describe how exciting that is.
No, 100%. I mean, for us, it's really, the space is so young and new that it's still early stages. Like I feel like we're miles ahead of where we were. I want to say 2 months ago, really, but yeah, like 6-7 months ago. But essentially, we're still getting started. I think building that tech and that infrastructure is the base foundation that we need to then kind of propel us into the next step, where games have to compete to get listed on some of these platforms. Games have to be the highest quality to even get attention on these platforms. Games have to start fighting for people's attention. It was almost like, because there were no high quality games, any game just got attention, and any game that just looked remotely close to something good. It's so funny. I remember when I first got into the space, because I'm a gamer first, right? Like I'm not a crypto enthusiast first, gamer second. It's like it's a complete other way around. So when I first got into the space and when I first started working with projects, it was almost like new for people that I asked about the game before I asked to see the tokenomics and the in-game economy documentation and the list of investors. And it almost seemed to me like, well, this is a no-brainer. Like if your game's not fun, none of this matters. But now I feel like more and more studios and publishers and projects are coming through and they're like, our game is super fun, but also our in-game economy is really sustainable. And so like the conversation has changed completely. So I'm with you 100%. I can't wait to see how the space continues to grow and the future of Web3 gaming. I think this is a hot take maybe, and I don't want to dive too deep into it because we'll take a lot of time, but I think the future of Web3 gaming is that we no longer call it Web3 gaming. I think once we start calling it gaming, people wake up and realize that game XYZ is not competing with the other Web3 game. It's competing with Call of Duty and Fortnite and League of Legends and FIFA. Like you have to compete with games because you're competing for my attention as a gamer. You're not competing for, a piece of the pie in the crypto space. But yeah, I mean, that's a topic for another conversation completely.
I really agree with that take, actually, because it's not like you say online gaming, right? You just say gaming because you're playing with your friends online. It's just a technology that you're using to have fun. And frankly, I don't think that crypto and Web3 is any different.
100%. Yeah, I think it's the underlying tech that's going to change a lot of games. I think people, same as, online gaming, like once upon a time, there was no online gaming. And then once you could actually play with your friends online, it almost became assumed, implied that if you're making a game in today's world, there's going to be an online feature, unless if you say otherwise. You say, no, this is a story campaign type only game, etc. But I think it's going to be the same with Web3, where it's just going to be like, yeah, I mean, this game uses blockchain tech to pay out players whenever they win a tournament, but I'm not going to have to say that. I'm just going to say it's a new game. I think once we reach that stage, that's when it gets really, really exciting, because that's when the top of the top will be competing, and it's no longer just going to be like random publishing studios trying to get like random games that look very similar to one another out. It's going to be like really high quality stuff to compete for our attention as gamers.